This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is the 1972 Mercedes 220D I have for sale. This actually is the second video, companion to the first one. In the first video I described the car's basic mechanical condition, but just wanted to let you know that I have done some body reassembly here since the last video. You can see I have the front bumper back on, as well as the driver's side headlight, and I have shot the driver's side front fender with a basic black, so it's not in primer anymore. You could leave it as is, or you could smooth out the bodywork even further. There is still a bit of rippling right there. I smoothed it out as best I could today, but just wanted to get this done quickly, and obviously didn't want the primer exposed to the weather so it would rust any further, so that's all painted up now. As I said, front bumper is back on, as is the rear bumper. Now, two rear bumpers come with the car. I believe this one is original to the car. It has overriders, as you can see right there by the tail lights. The other bumper does not have overriders, but it's otherwise the same. See, the badge there that said 220 diesel is long missing. As I said, the body really is solid. There's surface rust all over the place. The car was originally kind of a deep wine red maroon, as you see on the hubcap there. This tire is a bit low, by the way. All four of them hold air. I'm going to try to air this up shortly. But that's the original color of the car. It had been repainted sometime, I think in the 1980s or 90s once, in its original color, and then with this black here. And then the previous owner actually had stored the car outside, I want to say under a tarp, for a number of years. So what you're seeing really is just surface rust. I would recommend, just a quick sand down and just shooting a basic black at the car again. That's what I was going to do, but the mechanical issue I ran into yesterday just kind of made me decide to call it quits on this project. Even as it is, the car is a good, 10-15 footer. It's not too bad. The body really is structurally solid. There were some holes in the driver's side floor, which I did patch up last year. There is at least one minor hole here on the passenger side. See if I can even show you that. If I can even locate it. Okay, that's it right here. Now, this is kind of between the two seats. Not sure how bad this hole is really, but this side of the car seems to be much better than the driver's side was. Like I said, I was gonna take out the interior on this side also and patched up, but never quite got around to it. That's really all there is for floor damage. The driver's side is already repaired. In case you're curious about the repairs, I cut out all the rust and I riveted in flat steel patches, and then primed that, painted it, undercoated it on both sides, and put down a new rubber vapor barrier. So under the carpet, you'll never know, anything happened on that side. And what else? I go around to the driver's side. The interior overall is in really good shape for a 40-year-old car. Obviously there's some cracking on the dash there, and the seats are still in pretty good shape. You see a little bit of cracking here and here. They could certainly use a good armor hauling, but overall the vinyl is still pretty pliable. The piece of carpet that's supposed to go along here kind of got ripped up a bit when I took out the interior to do the flooring. I can certainly include that piece of carpeting. I still have it, but I was actually going to redo the whole interior of the car with indoor-outdoor carpeting, because Even the rest of the factory mats here are not in great shape. They're a bit dry and crumbly, but everything's here. Like I said, the driver's side floor is solid and should last a good long time. Carpets are out of the passenger side, but I do have them. See, seats, door panels, everything's in good condition. Driver's side seat belt is not currently installed, but obviously it comes with the car. I just kind of threw the interior back together quickly, just threw the seat in it so I can move the car around. I didn't intend this to be a permanent installation here. Let's see what else with the interior. The oil pressure gauge seems to bottom out at somewhere between 30 and 45. I think that's PSI. So obviously you're going to want to take the gauge apart. When you start the car, the gauge does go all the way up to 45. So the gauge is kind of working, but it should be bottoming out at 0. Temperature gauge does work fine. Fuel gauge has been reading empty since I got the car, but I just today I got underneath the fuel tank and I tapped on it with my knuckles, and all I could get was an echo. So I think the fuel tank is pretty much empty at this point. So I was going to drain the fuel tank, but it seems like a moot point at where I am right now. I'm sure some fresh diesel would just dilute whatever's in there. I have the center console. It's in the back seat here. I have a radio that goes with the car also. It's a vintage Sony tape deck. There's some toggle switches over here, which I think are hooked into the heater fan. Once again, this was something a previous owner did probably 20 years ago. Never got too much of a chance to investigate. What else? Oh yeah, the starter knob, or gorilla knob as sometimes it's called, broke last week when I was trying to start the car, maybe a week or two ago. So I replaced it with a couple of washers here because I didn't get around to buying a new one. But they do still make this knob brand new. It's about $30, or you can rig up something else. For now, I just have a couple of washers bolted onto the shaft there, and that seems to work okay for now. Let's see. Obviously, original owner's manual goes with the car. And, there's the cigarette lighter, which plugs into there. Not too much more I can tell you about the car. I want to say let me think about this for a second. I want to say I'm the 4th owner. I have records for the car going all the way back to the purchase invoice. The original owner was meticulous about keeping records on the car. Owner number 1 had the car from 1972 to 1996 or 1997, I want to say. Sometime in the 90s at any rate. Maybe a little earlier than that, but definitely mid-90s. Original owner was in North Carolina, so the car was not exposed to the kind of road salt you see up here in Massachusetts. Then the car went to somebody in Virginia, I want to say, who had it for a couple of years and then sold it to somebody here in Massachusetts, who, and the owner here in Massachusetts had it, I want to say, from 1998-ish to 2009. Of course, the car was not driven in the last 10 years. The inspection sticker ran out in 2001. And the previous owner, just kind of stored it outside for years under a tarp, which explains all the service rust on the car, but also explains why the car is more structurally intact than you might expect for this model. Meaning that the car didn't have much exposure to road salt in its life, but the tarp certainly did mess with the surface and the paint job. So, like I said, this is not a car I was going to restore to factory condition, but it was something I was just going to clean up and have fun with for a while. But my situation has changed, and I can't do that now. See, it is a 4-speed manual. The transmission does work fine. Like I said, I personally had not driven the car since April of 2009. and drove it into the garage. I finally got it started again yesterday, so I moved it out here to the driveway, and the transmission worked just fine. Let's see what else. This light lens here is broken. I believe they do make this new. I never got around to getting another one, although I was considering just gluing the lens back together also. Anyhow, like I said, I bought the car in March of 2009, and I had it towed here from Holyoke to Worcester, Massachusetts. It sat outside for a couple of weeks until I was able to clear out garage space, and then I moved it inside, where it's been sitting for over a year and a half now. I pulled the battery, I kept the battery charged. I had the battery tested at AutoZone last weekend, and it's still healthy, so the battery, although old, is still preserved and does work. Right now it's not hooked up to the fuel tank, but it would just take a minute to hook those fuel lines back up. I have the car hooked to a straight jar of diesel purge, which is what I was using to drive the car in and out of the garage. While I had the car in the garage, I was just working on the floors, and I just recently got back to working on the car as my main project, but yesterday I discovered an oil leak at the head gasket, so although otherwise the engine is running fantastic, that's not something I can deal with or even want to deal with right now. In terms of mechanical work, in the last couple of weeks I did a full valve adjustment. I replaced the leaky diesel primer pump with a brand new one. I pulled the glow plugs and cleaned the carbon out of the holes. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the car, it took a little coaxing to start, but once it did start, it ran very nicely. Let's see what else. The clock up here has not worked. May simply be a burned out fuse, but I haven't even looked into that yet. Let's see what else. The car needs an oil cooler. While the previous owner was storing this car, the oil cooler rusted and dumped the oil. So he bypassed it. It's bypassed and it's not leaking there right now, but the car needs an oil cooler. I'm including one with the car. It's not an original Mercedes oil cooler. It's actually something, a heavy-duty thing off a dune buggy, and it'll take a little bit of adapting to fit, but it should be pretty easy. I was just going to get some new lines and run it that way, in a different location with new lines. But that goes with the car. What else? Car needs new front and rear windshield seals. I have them. They go with the car. What else? I believe 3 out of 4 door seals, I want to say, are brand new. Previous owner put them in. I'm not sure why he didn't do the 4th, but it goes with the car also. If I remember correctly. I think I do have the 4th. Yeah, don't hold me to that. I'm pretty sure I have the 4th. And I'm pretty sure... and if I do, it goes with the car. But I know I have the front and rear windshield seals. So overall, this car is definitely a project. The biggest thing that needs to be done is that the cylinder head needs to be pulled and the gasket needs to be replaced. At least I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. And that's a little beyond my ability right now. Despite how familiar I am with these Mercedes diesels, I've never had to pull a cylinder head. So, otherwise, the car does run, though. It's not what I would call drivable, mostly because it's been off the road so many years, but engine starts, transmission works fine, brakes worked fine when I took it out yesterday. Once again, just out of the garage to the driveway and moved it around. Didn't drive it anywhere, but this is going to be it's going to be a project for somebody, and I'm going to price it accordingly. I haven't decided an asking price yet, but it's not going to be much. And it's certainly negotiable. I do want more than scrap price for the car, I know that. But, certainly don't want a fortune. Any questions, just email me through the through the ad. Thanks. And, you know, I'll probably keep this video up after the car sells, just because, you know, it's interesting enough, I think. But, you know, that's all for now.